Okay, I'm going to do a quick review here of the self-tightening propellers I got in the mail yesterday. You can see they're made in China. They came quickly from Amazon. They were reasonably priced. And as you can see here, they come in a fancy package. They say they're for the Phantom 3. However, I'm going to be using them on the Phantom 4, and they work just fine as far as connecting there. So presumably the Phantom 3 and the Phantom 4 have a similar connection system. Packaging was decent. They were packaged, they're pretty durable, so they don't need too much packaging around them. At any rate, here they are. They're very similar to the original DJI propellers that came with the machine. One notable difference is there's no color markings on them to indicate which propellers they go on or which motors they go on. So they do have, two of the propellers do have a number 2 inscribed in them, so that can lead you to figuring that out, or you could just take a felt marker and mark them yourself. You can see there the 2 is marked on 2 of those. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, they have arrows showing which way they tighten, which way they loosen. They're quite a bit more flexible than the original DJI propellers. I did notice that right away, making them maybe perhaps more durable, but just the same, they're quite flexible. So in comparing them to the original DJI, which I have in my left hand, this is the one that I just received, and this is a DJI one. The DJI ones are quite a bit stiffer and have a glossier finish to them. The size, the profile, everything about them looks to be exactly the same. You can see there I line them up, and they're fairly similar in profile and length, etc. So the hub looks very similar. The attachment mechanism or attachment setup inside looks to be identical. One thing I notice when I take off these new propellers, they make a bit of a popping sound, and that's just the air suctioning off of the motor shaft because they fit exactly. So good tolerances there. As far as weights go, I'll compare them to the original DJI Phantom 4 propellers here. All of the Phantom 4 propellers were congruent in their weights. They all came in at 11 grams, as you'll see here. That wasn't so with these new propellers I got here. The self-tightening propellers had issues. So there's the second DJI coming in at 11, the third DJI coming in at 11, and the fourth DJI coming in at 12. So I remeasure it, and it's 11, and I do one more just to make sure it is 11. This scale isn't highly scientific or precise, but we get the idea. Now for the self-tightening propellers, the first one comes in at 10 grams, the second one is at 7 grams. So that's a difference of 3 grams there. The next one's at 10, and the fourth and final one is at 10 as well. So one of the props, second from the top there, had actually a 30% difference in weight, which perhaps won't affect it, but it definitely speaks to the quality control of the company producing these propellers. So to mount them on the Phantom 4, you need to look carefully at them or know which way they are supposed to rotate when you install them. You can see the attachment mechanism there, and if you look at that carefully and look at the protrusions on the top of the motor mount, you can figure that out. There is a word saying close there, so you can look at that and attach it accordingly. Once they're attached, they seem to be fairly well set. I've flown a few times with them. I haven't had any of them fly off or have any problems with them there, so that's a good point. We'll attach another one here just to show. So this will be the clockwise rotating the rear right of the aircraft. So as far as attachment goes, they fit well, they do well. The flexibility is maybe an issue. If you're in high winds, they may contact the arm of the aircraft. Here's a difference in flexibility between the DJI there and the self-tightening propeller there. You can see it's much less stiff than the DJI. So the other thing is the finish of the DJI, of course, is a gloss, and the finish of these self-tightening propellers is a matte finish. That could lead to decreased performance through parasitic drag, but I doubt it. So that's that. I thought I'd take it outside and show you a quick flight here. So here we are in the backyard, just quickly. It's a beautiful winter day here. So I just pick it up and didn't notice any difference in the flight characteristics, really. I did a short flight here for about 2 minutes or a minute and a half, and there was no difference that I could tell between the original propellers and the self-tightening propellers, which you see here. The aircraft handled exactly the same. There was no jello or video vibrations noted in the video, although with DJI's dampening system and gimbal, you could have a propeller that was pretty out of whack and still get a good video, I think. So I didn't do a longevity test or a duration test on these. I assumed that the matte finish wouldn't make that much of a difference ultimately in the performance. The flight characteristics were exactly the same as I said, and you can see here they do have some flex to them that may or may not affect your performance in the wind. If you're looking for a replacement for your DJI Phantom 3 or 4 motors, or propellers I mean, then this is an option for sure. But my view on it is if you have that much money invested flying around, why save a few dollars on propellers? Especially when you may be voiding a warranty. So here's a close-up of the back of them. You can see the mechanism, DJI on the bottom, and the self-tightening propellers on the top. Thanks for watching. Cheers.